Welcome back. This is one of the last videos for Moon Wisdom, my latest workbook creation. That's the black and white copy that I have for myself. So we are moving on to the waning crescent, also known as the balsamic moon. So I do like to, in all of my practices, bounce back and forth from, because each phase has one or two, sometimes three names. And so I like to bounce back and forth so that the listener gets a chance to get familiarized with both. And so in this case, it's the waning crescent, which is the opposite of the waxing crescent, and also known as the balsamic moon. So this is a wonderful phase. You will notice that when we come into the balsamic phase, even though waning brings things down, balsamic brings things down even more. So this is the yinniest of the yin. This is the real time of rest. So for the waxing phase, we are kind of like calming down. We're still kind of getting a little bit of stuff done, especially during the first quarter. But then during the balsamic moon, we really just go, okay, it's time for a couple of days break to take from any of my projects, but not only from projects and actions, but also from thoughts. So not from feelings, but from thoughts. So during this time, we take a break from thinking about problems that we have, thinking about our day-to-day stressors, and we want to come up with some happy coping mechanisms that can help distract us from those things as well. So this is similar to some of the activities that we had in the waning gibbous, which was when we kind of entered into the waning and we wanted to help ourselves get into the more calming effect. So this is the break. This is the big break. We want to move away from all thought and just allow the mind to process consciously and unconsciously as well. So we just want to sit back and relax the mind, try to keep ourselves away from thinking about, you know, what do we have to do at work? What do we have to do for this project? Who have we not caught up with? Blah, 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 blah. We literally just give ourselves a break in this time. You don't have to call anybody. You don't have to email anyone. If you have a lot of responsibility, then you can let people know, I'm taking the next couple of days off. I'll get back to you at this time, putting an automatic emailer up that responds to people, letting them know that. So this is where our self-care practices come in, and we also want to make sure that we're not falling into zone-out behavior. So that's when we grab a bunch of junk food, we get into bed, and we just watch a series for like 10 hours straight. We're all guilty of this, or maybe we're not. I am. Definitely, like when Orange is the New Black first came out, every time that Netflix released a new season, I would order like a family size of Thai food and get in bed and watch it all the way through. But then the next day I would wake up with so much anxiety, feeling like I didn't process anything, I wasted the entire previous day, and I just kind of skipped over life. And I don't want to do that. I want to be present with life, and present in different ways, with each phases, which is what I love about the moon cycle. So this is when we have long contemplative baths again. So we're trying to take out the thoughts of the daily stressors, and we're trying to keep it stuck to processing and trying to keep the mind blank and calm. And so kind of like a walking meditation, a wakeful meditation. So every single time that the brain goes, oh, well, what about this? We just bring it and we bring it back here. And we go, what else? So this is when we can read a book that is for pleasure. So not something that is for educational purposes, unless you truly, truly enjoy that, which I do. But also I have my guilty pleasure books that I like to read. And so this is the time when I'm going to read them, as we are just moving into a waning crescent right now. And I am actually getting ready to take 2 full days of break away from my business, away from my friends, away from my family, and just go within and process everything that's happened in this last cycle. So we have our book, we might watch a movie, eat, love, pray kind of a thing, painting, drawing, crafting. All of those activities can be meditative and keep your brain in a conscious state, but only on that one focus, so it's not jumping off to all these other places. So we do things like painting because we're really just focusing in on that, and what that does is it calms the mind and it allows the mind to process, because the mind is kind of like a computer. It looks at everything in the world and it collects all of this data. And we need calm, relaxed time in order to process that data, or else our brain just feels like a computer that's getting out of control, that has lots of glitches, lots of distractions, pop-ups, viruses, all that kind of stuff. So we really need waning, and we really need the time that the moon cycle tells us to take a break. We really need to take that time and give ourselves that break. So one thing I like to do in this time is have like a day ritual, which is pretty much where I put my battery operated candles on. I have some prayer candles that I light as well. I sage my entire house. I have beautiful music playing. I take out like 5 or 6 books and I just kind of flip through them and look at them, and I just stay in a really relaxed state. And then I usually end my day with a bit of a movie, and then a meditation, sometimes yoga nidra before I go to bed. So that's kind of what my waning crescent looks like. So that is our waning crescent. So there is no exercise for this phase, and that is just trying to stay in the theme of break. If you're feeling like you still have a lot going on, like your brain is still processing a lot, and you need something a little bit more external to be able to externalize it, take it from your internal and bring it into your external world so that you can deal with it in a more productive way, this can be a great time for journaling and also automatic writing. So take that upon yourself. If you feel like that is necessary. If you don't, then I highly recommend just staying in that wakeful, meditative state. So that is our waxing crescent. Next we have the dark moon, which, if you have read ahead, is just one single night right before the new moon, right before the first little tiny sliver of light comes through. So it's when the moon is at its darkest. So that's what our next video is going to be in a couple of days. So I will see you then.